On this episode, we'll give you advice on how to manage friendships and schoolwork.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Girls Got This. I'm Zara, and with me as always is Ava.
Hi.
Each week we will lead you through middle school and give you advice on how to thrive as a teenage girl. This is episode 1.
Last week we spoke a bit about who we are and what this podcast will be about. We also briefly mentioned that you can email us with questions you'd like us to answer on the show because our show is based on helping you with things that you need. You will be able to send us your questions and ideas through the link in our show notes. We'd love to hear from you, so please check our show notes when you get a chance.
Since we will start answering your questions on the next episode, today we are going to discuss friendships and the basics of making friends. We found a source we may or may not agree with and how we actually think you should try to make friends. In an article on how to make friends by the New York Times, it says that you need to talk to people, ask them open-ended questions, or just make up random conversations. I think that this is so true, and you could also compliment them, but try not to make it awkward. Compliment their outfit. Ask them where they got it, because it's so cute, and build a conversation from there. Something else that it says is to share some little secret. I personally don't know about this one. People might think you're a weirdo if you all of a sudden share your secrets and they don't even know you. So maybe don't, but instead stick to asking them about their lives. Most times, conversations are one-sided because people don't have those great social skills like you do. You constantly ask them random questions like, oh, any plans for the summer? Or how was your practice yesterday? And then they answer. And stay silent. And don't ask you anything. And it's quiet until you say something again. And then it's quiet. And then you run out of things to ask them. And this happens all the time.
Sometimes this means that this isn't the right person because friendships don't always work, but maybe that person is shy, and if you keep asking them questions each time, they may start to break out of their shell. Another thing that you can do is ask them about something you're confused about. Then they have to acknowledge you exist, and they may think you're nice. After talking to people, you can smile or wave at them in the hallways. They most probably will wave back. This is how I became friends with one of my closest friends. She was in most of my classes, so when I saw her in the hallway, I would simply smile. Then one day I decided to sit at our table, and afterwards we sat at the same table every day and became good friends. Also, me and my friends from elementary school aren't friends anymore, but I still smile at them in the hallways and stay friendly instead of ignoring them. You don't have to be friends with everyone, but you don't want to make enemies. Also, most middle schools offer sports, so if you do sports, that's a great way to make friends.
Doesn't everyone say friendships change in middle school? And they do. It's true. But sometimes you're in a situation where you have a lifelong friend from elementary school. People change, and maybe they did too. It might feel like it's not the same anymore, but being best friends for 10 years isn't something easy to let go of. And people just don't understand that it's not easy to throw you in a room of people and then make friends and drop your old friends. Sometimes there's someone you want to cut out of your life, but you just can't. It would change your whole life too, and it's just not realistic. And honestly, that's totally okay. Everyone goes through that, and it's up to you what you're ready to do. And that's also why we're here, to talk and to help you out. Making friends also isn't as easy as we may have just made it seem, because the truth hurts, but people can be really mean. And I mean, a middle school girls' friend group is where all the drama's at. We'll teach you more about how to deal with that in another episode. Another topic that lots have trouble with is balancing schoolwork. I think we're pretty smart, so here are some things we'd recommend to balance schoolwork and keep your grades up.
You'll have a lot of homework. I mean, a lot. In middle school, most times you are given a homework assignment to do over the course of a couple of days. So don't procrastinate. I have.
And so have I.
A lot. And that then leads to staying up until 11:59 trying to get that last paragraph in before it's due. It's normal to forget, and it's definitely normal to forget when you have 10 different classes to do homework for. But if you have nothing to do that day, you should do your homework. You can't avoid it, you just have to do it. If you have time, but you're like, oh, I have 3 days to do it, let me just watch TikTok. Don't watch TikTok, trust me. Just bang out all your homework when you have free time, because the next thing you know, you're packed with activities after school for the next 2 days, and that ended up being your only day to do it.
Also, you'll feel so relaxed if you just get all your homework over with in the beginning, and you won't have homework for days instead of doing one homework each day, because you'll have something to do each day then, and you may not even have time. You need to plan accordingly, because if you know you have drama and then a basketball game until 8:30 at night, you may be exhausted and don't want to stay up late doing your homework. That's when you shouldn't, because this has happened to me, and while you're doing your math homework, you start making the worst and most simple mistakes, because your brain is dead. The next thing you know, you're looking at everything you got wrong, and you're like, wait, 1 plus 1 isn't 3? What was I thinking? And that's probably because you weren't thinking. So if you know you have stuff to do that day, and if you have a few extra days to get it done, use those extra days.
Okay, so where can you find us?
Please send us questions or any topics that you want us to discuss through the link for a Google form in our show notes, and we'll answer them on the show.
Information about this show and more can be found on Twitter and Instagram with the name @Herricks Studios.
You can find this podcast on your favorite app by searching for Herricks Studios.
If you'd like to leave us a review, please do so on Apple Podcasts, and we might read it on the show.
This podcast is a production of Herricks Studios with Mr. Heit and the Content Creation Foundation's 8th grade elective.
The views and opinions expressed in these recordings do not necessarily reflect the views or positions of Herricks School Districts.
I think we're just about out of time on our episode on friendships and schoolwork. That's going to do it from me and Ava.
We'll see you next time.
Bye.